Well, I just want to continue to see her growth for as being a leader, right? We know that she could hoop. We know that she could score the ball. We know that she can make others around her better.
Cachet, that marketability that could have been selfish, was selfless and thought not just about herself, but everybody.
Think you can name a better rookie season than Caitlyn Clark's? I'll wait, because right now she's not just playing well for a rookie, she's playing like an all-star. Her stats are off the charts, and she's got the Indiana Fever winning games they shouldn't. Still think someone's had a better rookie year? Before we move on, I'd like to ask you a small favor. If you appreciate this content, please take a second to like this video and subscribe to the channel. Over 98% of you watch the videos without subscribing. It costs you nothing, but it makes a huge difference to us. So did you click the subscribe button? Great, thank you so much. Now back to the video. Before crowning Clark the new WNBA queen, you need be familiar with her collegiate career. It's a remarkable album that gives context to her current achievement. Her ascent to the pinnacle of her field may perhaps be better understood in light of this. Can you remember how highly regarded Caitlyn Clark was when she was a university student? They weren't even close. She was iconic, not just kind. Clark not only broke records, she shattered them. She broke Pistol Pete Maravich's record for most career points scored in NCAA tournament history. There has never been a collegiate basketball player, male or female, who performed better than she did. Impressive, what an impression. Hold on a second though. Clark wasn't just a scorer. Helpers were slipping through her fingers like spooky sweets on Halloween. Her ability to see the court and set up plays was second to none. Someone seemed to be peering over her shoulder. I can hear you thinking. Indeed, she excelled in college, but the WNBA is an entirely different beast. Exactly what you said. Brittany Griner, the league's most prominent player, has not minimized the challenge of the transition. She likened going straight from high school to the leap from college to the working world. It's faster, harder, and more intense. Was dealing with Clark a challenge after she got to the big leagues? Initially, my answer would be yes. It seemed like she was just starting out and trying to figure out a few games. Still, a bulb blew. Over the last 17 games, Clark has been so impressive that even the most hardened veterans can't help but be envying.
And go at Caitlyn Clark with the fierceness that your competitive juices demands.
With 22.6 points, 6.2 boards, and 10.6 assists per game, they are a formidable rival. That is just mind-blowing. It's completely out of this world. Is anything else out of the ordinary? Well, Clark isn't just doing that. She oversees all operations for the Fever. She leads the team and calls the plays like a quarterback. Some people are drawing comparisons between her and Luka Doncic, an NBA star. That is an incredibly flattering statement. The action really starts to pick up steam now, despite Clark's incredible domination. It seemed like the Fever were last in the league from week 2 all the way through week 9. A winning streak of 17 games stretches out over the course of only a few months. How did things take such a dramatic turn?
You got to sit up there and pay attention to the rising tide. It lifts all boats.
Consider the beginning of the season as a starting point. The Indiana Fever faced a significant challenge. They were unable to overcome their persistent losses. It was like seeing a car's battery die while it fought to start. But then Caitlyn Clark shows up. Surely it's impossible for a single player to have any kind of impact, right? That is not right. To add fuel to the fire, Clark did more than just join the squad. The Fever began racking up scores that would make top teams think twice out of nowhere.
Well, I just want to continue to see her growth for us being a leader, right? We know that she could hoop. We know that she could score the ball. We know that she can make others around her better.
The fan base, both new and old, us that have been true to this in terms of supporting women's sports, the demand is undeniable.
It would appear that Clark lugged along an entirely different strategy manual, but here's the catch. Nobody cares about Clark's individual stats. During 17 games played under her current coach, her averages have been 22.6 points, 6.2 rebounds, and 10.6 assists. What in the world? Her peculiar knack for making other people's life better is even stranger. Everyone on the team, not just herself, is feeling the effects of her influence on their game. Are you aware of my impression of Clark? Luka Doncic. I did mention that. Indeed, the Fever's show is run by Clark, who is similar to Luka in the NBA. Defensive players are bewildered by her extraordinary speed in making decisions, calling plays, and assembling teams. Being a spectator at a checkers game is compared to seeing a chess master play. We can talk about the postseason now. After being a very desirable team, the Fever are now untouchable. Rebecca Lobo is considered by many to be one of the most intelligent people in the NBA. She sees the Fever as possible first-round winners. They have become that good under Clark's leadership. But the most important question is, can a rookie lead a club to the playoffs? Although Clark demonstrated resiliency while enrolled in college, the WNBA poses a completely different obstacle. The inexperienced Fever aren't ready to compete in the playoffs just yet. Just picture yourself attempting to use a knife in a shootout. With Clark behind the wheel though, what could happen? Are you hoping I'd spill the beans on the most outlandish part of it all? Clark is having an impact on the Fever in every aspect of their lives, not only their music.
Teammates involved, and then also just her growth. It's been great. And she's making sure she's finding those open players.
Between points scored herself and points assisted. That's almost 45 points per game, and the most by any player ever.
Prior to her arrival, winning seemed like an insurmountable task. Many now anticipate it. It feels like every single player on that team is playing with more self-confidence and strutting their thing. Everyone on the team seems to have caught Clark's contagious self-assurance. Have you any idea what's incredible? Caitlyn Clark's impact is transcending the WNBA. And
pretty exciting. One of the big reasons fans flock to State Farm Arena is, of course, the Caitlyn Clark effect.
Touching every corner of the globe. Picture this. All of her Icelandic fans are planning watch parties so they can catch every game. Amazing Iceland. It would be like finding a tropical beach in a basketball game to find one in Antarctica. But outside of basketball, is Clark having any kind of impact? Therein lies the real inquiry. The way Clark plays is completely flipping the script on what we anticipate from rookies. The WNBA is adjusting its approach because of her. Upon her arrival, she appeared to be carrying what appeared to be a cheat code. However, some are becoming increasingly worried. To paraphrase, wait a second, can she really continue playing this way? Some people are criticizing Clark for his high consumption rate. Indeed, she's reigning supreme at the moment, but how will she fare when the playoffs roll around? They ask themselves, seemingly waiting for something else to transpire. Whatever the case may be, Clark has been here before. She scored in 27 consecutive games throughout her time at university in the NCAA tournament. That is how you handle high-pressure situations, everyone.
Cachet, that marketability that could have been selfish, was selfless and thought not just about herself, but everybody.
After we wrap off with Clark's on-court impact, let's talk about her off-court impact on the game. All throughout the globe, this player is starting to make a splash. Going to a WNBA game in Iceland? How long has it been since someone brought them up? Thanks to her TikTok dance, Clark's celebrity appears to be spreading like wildfire. She is bringing women's basketball to a national level in places where the idea of a WNBA franchise has never been heard of before. And yet, that's only one part of the equation. The way Clark plays has us reevaluating women's basketball. The type of carefree assurance she displays on the court is more common in the NBA. Her reaction seems to have been, nah, I'm good, in response to the standard WNBA rookie restrictions. Wow, it's really productive.
By putting in the hard work day to day, coming out there competing and leaving it all out on the floor. That's all you can ask in a young rookie.
Can you remember when Rebecca Lobo said the Fever will win the playoffs? That is a huge deal whenever a WNBA great says it. It would appear like Clark is influencing not only the Fever's luck, but also the expectations of the league. The idea of a rookie leading the team isn't as unbelievable as it was before. At this point, the interesting part starts. Clark is changing the way women's basketball is seen, not just adding up statistics. The highlight reel would be incomplete without her long-range bombs and dazzling passes. The audience will tune out their phones and focus on the play. Clark is like a treasure trove for women's basketball in our society that is desperately in need of attention. Now is not the time to make assumptions though. The actual exam is almost upon us.
This time, your threes on the line, the post defense is on the line, but Caitlyn Clark is a deep three-point shooter. But last but not least,
as far as Clark is concerned, postseason play is an entirely different beast. When things become hot, can she handle it? The role of her leadership is important, says Kendrick Perkins. It appears that Clark is facing more than simply rival teams. She is also confronted with the burden of high expectations. Alright, let's talk about Caitlyn Clark's recent WNBA warning. Beyond her posting ridiculous numbers or establishing new milestones, this is a whole other ballgame. Not at all. Clark is making a far bigger point. A sensation on a global scale, she is elevating women's basketball.
Again, it's about her leadership. And You can see everybody starting to follow her, right? She's starting to lead in great fashion. They've been winners all their life, right? They've been playing in hostile, rowdy environments all their life. They just young with old souls. And
have you any idea what's incredible? Clark does more than just sell tickets. Sure enough, Icelanders are hosting watch parties to catch all of her games. Wow, it is incredible. On top of that, she has no shame about it. On a Thursday night after a preseason game, Clark said 13,000 people showed up. Having a fan base like that would be a dream come true for some NBA teams.
And I think just continue to be confident. You know, some nights you're not gonna be as good as you were the other night.
You like that?
I like that you're here. I like that you're here.
I do that at my family after every game, so.
But here's the rub. Clark is changing the way we look at the game. Her long-range bombs and amazing passes are getting a lot of attention. This is more than just her playing the game. It's a show. By the way, that show.